Coronavirus has changed our life. Later in October, the number of daily cases has surged dramatically. Finally, most of the European countries restarted some strict measures. Here in London as well, we are now under national lockdown, but it will be lifted very soon. How about the business schools now? Actually, many business schools have already shifted to online classes. But how about networking? Students are expecting to gain their networking in MBA and other master programs. How students are adjusting to the current environment and build their own networking internally and externally.
Hello, my name is Kotaro. Now I'm walking to Hult London campus because the campus is still open during the lockdown, which is great. Today I'm gonna be interviewing some students to ask how they are building professional and personal network during the COVID time. Let's go.
How can I build my network in coronavirus time? I think, well, we are here in Hult Business School, and actually as we have the courses presential and online, it can help a lot because everything is not online. So at the end of the day, if we want to go out to some place like visit London or walking by because everything is closed because of the lockdown, we can still doing it. Moreover, I think with the roundtables, it's also a good start to do the networking events.
So networking here in London is fantastic. There's so many people you can meet. It's a bit more difficult these days with COVID, but there's lots of industry groups you can join. You sign up and they'll have webinars about industries and topics of interest for you. They'll have networking events that are virtual, which is a bit unusual at first, but you get used to it. And it's a great way of understanding an industry. Specifically, job boards and job websites often host a lot of events that are targeted towards meeting people and having industry connections. So even if you're not sure about an industry, they will have events that might give you some insight into what it would be like there. They will have people who work in those industries, those companies, sharing day in the life sometimes to understand what it could be if you went into that industry.
So I think the clubs are a really good tool to network through the internet, and so I don't think it will be very difficult to build your network even if everything is gonna be switched online, because for example clubs, everybody takes part to different clubs, and clubs just take place online now, so we're already used to build our networks through the internet. And even clubs themselves are a perfect way to build your network, to interact with your people, even though they don't come from your program, they may be from different cohorts. So I think clubs are very important for different purposes. In my student clubs, we use Zoom platform, and we can either be in the same room or we can be divided in different breakout rooms, and in this way we have more possibility to interact because we will be smaller groups, and so it's easier to exchange ideas, points of view, and to work on the purpose of the club.
Those students are able to come to campus because they are now based in London. But some of the students are learning completely online from somewhere outside of UK.
So I've been doing the entire classes, the entire MBA experience online. So of course, networking is not that easy in comparison to being on site. We have events through the careers team, so at least this gives us an occasion to not only meet the MBA students, but the MIB, MIF, MIM. So it's very interesting this way. And especially the organization of Hult is very interesting when it comes to courses, because we have teams which are always changing. So this also gives you an occasion to, get to know more the people whom you are working with on the MBA. So at a more personal level, of course, mostly the experience is centered around LinkedIn, around Instagram, around WhatsApp. because these three main apps are like giving you an insight on people's personal lives, people's professional lives. So it's very interesting. It's not that easy, to be honest. The relationship is never going to be the same, but it's okay. Other than that, it's quite easy. We are all in the same spirit, all pretty much in the same idea of networking, of making everything very valuable for everyone. So it's very easy to talk to people, to get to know them.
First of all, we worked on a daily basis with the UK Education Department from the government and the student services, where we check all the guidelines, and because we need to make sure that we apply what the UK government tell us to do. So we have social distancing rules. So in a classroom, for example, we have reduced the capacity by half. So when you sit in the classroom, we make sure that you have these 2 meters and no one next to you, and then it's fine. So that's the first thing. Then we make sure that everybody wears the PPE or a mask. The second thing is we have cleaners on campus who constantly clean the campus, constantly clean the handles of the doors and everything, so 1,000,000 times per day. So that's another thing. And then communications. There's a lot of communications from the staff, so mostly the Director of Operations, Lee Rowe, who constantly update you about what the UK government guidelines are, what do they advise you to do, washing your hands constantly, so that like this you know exactly what to do, in the same way that they give you also, for example, travel restriction guidelines, what's going on, and so on. So this is how, in terms of safety measure, how we do on site now. And also we do a lot of events if we don't necessarily do events on campus, because not everybody can attend, especially those virtual. In that case, we will do a social online event, which we did, for example, for the MBA 2 weeks ago. And it's like a fun quiz event, so that we make sure that it's not just professional networking, but it has to be also a social networking. This is how we design the things here at Hult.
Even though some restrictions may go on and we have some activity limitations for now, but people are adjusting and enjoying the new networking style. In London, as long as we follow the safety rules properly, we can maximize the learning and networking experiences. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.